Travis, and I've come to you guys today with a build. Not just any build, but a pretty fun, exciting, and addictive build. It's full of synergy and just all around is a good time. Yes, I'm talking about not that, I'm talking about this. Yeah, this. My Arc Warlock. Actually, I think he looks pretty good. Let me know, guys, how do you think he looks? I've already received a couple best dressed, accommodations. And I think the overall theme just kind of fits, but enough of the style of this Warlock. Let's hop into what makes this Warlock, in my opinion, fun and addictive. So Stormcaller, yeah, channeling energy, man, power fantasies. We're gonna go ahead and hop with Chaos Reach. We're not doing Storm Trance just because we're not really playing into them. We're doing Chaos Reach because it's quick and easy. Boom, just use it and get it back. Or if you make an oops and you didn't want to use your super, well then you could just shut your super off and save the energy. So really good. Abilities, we have Healing Rift for healing. I want to stay healthy while I'm also unloading a bunch of copper on my enemies. So, want to stay alive, Healing Rift it is. Burst Glide, because I also want to try to get from point A to point B as quickly as I possibly can. Although, it's up to you guys what you want to choose. You want some more control? Then these two can give you more control. This will give you more speed. Chain Lightning. So this build, I recommend Chain Lightning. I have another build I'll be doing in the future that will utilize Ball Lightning. But for now, Chain Lightning because we're getting up and close to our enemies. I want to make sure that they'll smell the hand that takes them down. It's probably going to be a burnt smell because, channeling lightning and all. But yeah. Also, we're going to be jolting enemies with our melee. And when we're amplified, which we will be, we're also going to do an extra set of chains, which will do extra damage. And then for our grenade of choice, everyone will have an opinion as to what type of grenade they want. Use whatever grenade you want. But for this build, I think you guys should be using the Storm Grenade. You can, I can see an argument for Skip Grenade. They can technically add clear, but this does add clear. Probably doesn't have an overall damage output that Pulse does, but that's not our goal. Our goal is not to focus on one. Our goal is to focus on as many enemies as possible. So, Storm Grenade it is. And one of our fragments is actually going to help us make this to where we jolt every time we throw this grenade. So, stay tuned. Aspects. Electrostatic Mind, Arc Soul. Electrostatic Mind. Basically, when we get kills with any of our abilities, we're going to produce an Ionic Trace. If we cannot manage to kill an enemy with our abilities for whatever reason, then as long as they are jolted and are blinded, we just have to finish them off with a weapon. And if we can do that, while those effects are activated, then we get an Ionic Trace. Ionic Traces will help to regenerate our ability energies, and in our case with this particular aspect, when we pick it up, it also allows us to become amplified. Arc Soul. When we use our Rift will not only be healing us, but will produce a little, as we call, an Arc Buddy. That will go ahead and start shooting, shots of electricity at the enemy. If we are amplified, it will shoot it faster, and the damage will be a little bit more. It'll be a bump up. So, really good way to kind of feed into the Ionic Trace loop so far. So for our fragments, we have Spark of Ions. When we defeat a jolted target, it creates an Ionic Trace. So that means we get 2. So really nice. Spark of Amplitude. I went with this over Magnitude just because I don't care about duration since we're getting our grenade back quite often. So when the Ionic Traces are taking their hiatus, because there is a cooldown with Ionic Traces, when they are taking their break, instead we'll be producing Orbs of Power. And we will actually need this to produce Orbs of Power for what is to come. So for this one, I actually went with Spark of Beacons. I do have some other recommendations. If you're having trouble surviving for any reason, you can use Resistance. recharge, or instinct. But if you're not having that issue, then haste would really work and discharge for the extra ionic trace, but that's a chance. But Spark of Beacons, while we are amplified, arc special weapon final blows will create a blinding explosion. So we basically have both of our status effects covered at this point. We can get an ionic trace from jolting enemies, which is the majority of the time. But if the enemy is jolted, and we use our arc weapon of choice, then they'll be blinded, and that blind will also cover for our ionic trace. And then of course we have Spark of Shock, so this is what allows our grenades to jolt enemies. Pretty much. Oh yeah, and it has a minus 10 discipline, but that really doesn't matter, to be honest. It's a good trade-off. Alright, so let's hop into the weapons of choice here. Weapons of choice. Because of the seasonal mod for Unstoppables, I have a scout rifle. Nothing to go home with here. It gets the job done. Retrofit Escapade. If you were not handful, but if you were one of the many of the fortunate ones that was here before Lightfall, and you were able to craft this, congratulations. You're quite lucky, because if you joined after the case, then I'm sorry to say this, but you won't be able to craft this weapon. It's gone. You can find one. Yes, there is a chance for this weapon to drop, but that's basically it. But I digress. Retrofit Escapade. Very good void machine gun. Actually will benefit with this build because of some of the seasonal mods that we have active. The 2 perks here, 4th times the charm. The more crits we get, the more ammo gets replenished to our magazine from our reserves. Target lock. The longer we're holding the trigger down, the more the damage ramps up. It does eventually hit a ceiling, but I mean, honestly, it's going to be doing a lot of damage. And Trinity Ghoul. Trinity Ghoul, if you don't have it, get it. That's all I'm really going to tell you. If you don't have it, get it. It's got 2 perks here. It's got Lightning Rod and the intrinsic trait Split Electron. Lightning Rod, precision kills with this weapon will make the next shot chain lightning, grants the next shot chain lightning capabilities. So basically, what I was having so much trouble with there is when you get a precision kill with this, your next shot's going to have a bunch of lightning on it. You don't necessarily need to hit the enemy with that shot. You can hit the floor, and the electricity will arc from the ground and hit the enemy, and it can hit multiple enemies at a time, thus feeding our subclass. Yes. If you can manage to work your way to getting the catalyst, which is really easy, no PvP required, you don't even need to get crits at that point. You could just use your grenade, your rift, or your melee to be able to electrify your arrow. So, really good to have. And as you can see here, I've almost racked up 11,000 kills. It's a very, very fun weapon. It's great for ad clearing. Actually, I think it's one of the best. For our armor. Helmet. I'm just going to do this for this. So, you know how Trinity Ghoul kind of feeds into multiple enemies at a time? Well, Conduction Tines kind of does the same, just a little bit differently. So Conduction Tines, when we're getting arc ability kills, or Jolt final blows, we increase our recharge rate of our arc abilities. Basically, it's decreasing the cooldown of all of our abilities. Basically what it's saying. If you are using this build by any chance with Storm Trance, it will also extend the duration of Storm Trance. And it actually does it by a pretty good amount too. But Chaos Reach, we're making use of that quick high DPS bursts. We don't really need Storm Trance, but just know this is a really good first ability. Regain arc ability energy after getting arc ability kills or jolt final blows. For the mods for the helmet, we have Dynamo, so get up and close with your enemy, use your Rift. Your Rift will go ahead and decrease the cooldown rate of your super. thus allowing us to use it more often. Ash is the asset. Get a kill with a grenade gives you some super energy. That's different from cooldown, mind you. So this gives us a little bit of energy, while this reduces the cooldown, so that will, over time, give us more. And Harmonic Siphon, our Trinity Ghoul. Get rapid kills with that Trinity Ghoul, and we'll create an Orb of Power. For our Gauntlets, Firepower, get kills with a grenade, get an Orb of Power. Damage enemies with a grenade, you get you'll get like a lump sum of class ability energy, as well as reducing the cooldown for your melee while causing damage with your grenade. So, whole point here with the gauntlets, use your grenade. Basically, just use your grenade. In fact, it's even the same with the helmet. Not much I can say here, just simply because it's the chest piece. It's mainly there for defensive purposes, but if you want to lean in towards your armor charges, then charge it up. I'll just say, just look into your surges, your current surges, and then you can just adjust as you go along. Legs. Alright, so legs. While we are out in the field producing orbs of power, when we pick up these orbs of power, they will reduce the cooldown of our class ability as well as our grenade, allowing us to use it more often. Plus, we are augmenting our weapon's damage output, our Trinity Ghoul, by 10% when we pick up an Orb of Power. Just keep in mind that when we pick up an Orb of Power, this will activate and it will cause the Orbs of Power to have a slow decay. So they will go away after so much time. But that's okay because we're producing orbs like crazy. Speaking of way to produce orbs, we have the Reaper. It's a class mod that when you, in this case, use your Rift, the next weapon kill will guarantee that you get an Orb of Power. Plain and simple. With the Bomber armor mod, when we use our Rift, we're gaining grenade energy. I think it's like 11 or 12%. Pretty good. And then of course Proximity Ward. If we finish an enemy off using our finisher, we get an overshield. So really good for survivability. For our current seasonal mods, because we do have some here that will actually make use with this class. It will help us out. Bricks from Beyond. Void Weapon gets kill, gets a chance to get heavy ammo. That's all you need to know. So Retrofit Escapade, get some kills. The stronger the enemy, the higher the chance of getting that heavy ammo. Volatile Flow, pick up an Orb of Power. Void Weapon will get the perk Volatile Rounds, which in our case will allow our heavy machine gun Retrofit Escapade to eat through barrier champions. So when they pop their barrier, you can use Retrofit Escapade as long as you picked up an orb to stun them. Very useful. And then of course, if we have our Trinity Ghoul, if it can break an arc shield, automatic orb, it'll come out. So really good way to kind of feed into our grenade and class ability energy. And then of course, I guess also inadvertently increasing our recharge rate with all of our stuff. Really, yeah. Like I said, this is super synergistic. Our helmets recharging our abilities. We have our orbs of power recharging our abilities. We have bolstering destination, momentum transfer with the grenade, recharging our other two abilities. We have Reaper giving us the orb of power. We have innervation and installation. I mean, it's really like the sky's the limit type of thing here, if you can see what I'm seeing here. So, yeah. Also for the stats, make sure for you guys, if you're warlocks, recovery and discipline. Make sure those are as close as you can get to tier 10. In all honesty though, you really don't need the recovery at tier 10, but it would help because it is directly tied to your rift. The reason why I say no is because you're getting your stuff back so quickly from the ionic traces that kind of negates the need, or at least lowers the need to try to get these stats to go to tier 10. But you definitely want resilience at tier 10. 30% damage reduction is always useful to have. But aside from that, I just want to thank you everyone for watching. If you liked it, like the video. Uh, if you haven't already, please subscribe. I will be doing more of these. And as I mentioned, I have another arc build here that I will definitely review with you guys so that way you can see that side. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video of whatever I decide to do. Ta-ta for now.